On October 27, 2016, the Jackson County, Oregon Board of Commissioners held a public meeting at North Medford High School. The intent of this meeting was to hear testimony concerning the potential expansion of the Cascade-Siskiyou National Monument. The Board of Commissioners felt that previous public discussions held on this issue were poorly notified and didn't allow for a comprehensive look at how the community felt about the potential expansion. Through proper notification, hundreds of people in the community attended, and there was testimony given by 102 organizations, stakeholders, property owners, businesses, and elected officials. There were many more prepared to give testimony, many of whom provided written testimony that is available. Here's a portion of that testimony for your review.
I strongly support the expansion.
Siskiyou County was never made aware of any proposal for expanding this monument, and it also entails 10,000 acres in Siskiyou County. Siskiyou County is opposed to this expansion.
Recently, our City Council passed a June 15, 2015 unanimous resolution supporting monument expansion.
I have a lot of skin in the game here for Klamath County and Jackson County. Commissioner Roberts was at the Ashland hearing a couple of weeks ago, and that was a very disturbing meeting. I think the general consensus, even by many of those that were supporting the monument, very definitely thought the fix is in.
And I'm Peter Buckley, State Representative for 2 more months for South Jackson County. It's great to be here. Thank you so much for holding this hearing, making sure every voice is heard. It's very important to have the input of all involved. I'm here in strongly support of the expansion.
For the record, my name is Tim Freeman. I'm a Douglas County Commissioner and this year's current board chair of the Douglas County Commission. I'm also on the executive board for the Association of ONC Counties, and I'm here also representing that association. We often hear the importance, and at the last hearing there was a real discussion around jobs and tourism, and I'd like to make sure people understand this is not an either or. Oftentimes this is presented by the agencies and by folks that come up that we can either have tourism or we can manage these lands. I believe we can have both, and we should have both. I appreciate you taking this testimony and hear me say we are opposed to this expansion.
I'm Gary Peterson, and thank you for providing this opportunity to provide input for your consideration. As a retired federal employee who has designed and or implemented more than 200 natural vegetation management projects, I'm troubled by the proposed expansion of the Cascade-Siskiyou National Monument and the limitations that expansion imposes on the resource, the landscape, and future management activities in it.
My name is Jamie Stevens. I'm the Science Director at Klamath Bird Observatory. We're a non-advocacy organization. Our stance on the expansion is neutral, but I'm here to bring our science to light, and the science is clear that the proposed expansion area will benefit some of the most imperiled birds in the Pacific Northwest.
My name is Bill Meyer, and all here tonight are witness to a crime, this attempt to steal tens of thousands of acres of ONC designated lands using unlawful methods to hijack and camouflage our public process and place these ONC lands unlawfully, as I see it, into an expanded monument. The solicitor for the Department of the Interior told the Secretary of the Interior that the President lacks authority under the Antiquities Act to include ONC lands in a national monument. This was concerning a proposal to put ONC lands in the expansion of the Oregon Caves.
Dave Willis with the Soda Mountain Wilderness Council. It's an important biological connectivity corridor between the Cascades and the Siskiyous recognized in the Northwest Forest Plan and other places. It's also an incredibly biodiverse area, and resource professionals will be able to manage it for protection after it's designated, if it is designated. About 80% of the area in Oregon is already under some sort of recreation or conservation designation in the Western Oregon Plan revision the BLM has. A Grizzly Peak backcountry primitive area, scenic status under the Wild and Scenic Rivers Act for Jenny Creek, a half-mile wide Pacific Crest Trail corridor, conservation emphasis areas, old growth heritage areas, and more. So it seems a lot more sensible, especially looking down the line, to manage the area for protection and all the economic byproducts that come from that protection of land that belonged to all the people in the United States.
My name's Steve Ritchie. I'm from Ashland, Oregon, and I'm a candidate for Oregon House District 5. And the existing monument and most of the proposed expansion lie within the boundaries of my district, and I do oppose the expansion. There's no downside to being more responsible with our resources, but I question how doubling the size of the existing monument and further restricting public use is going to benefit Jackson County and the majority of its citizens. Some proponents are painting a picture of urban sprawl, subdivisions, and strip malls climbing the hillsides above Ashland. These lands are already protected and under federal management.
Hi, my name is Janine Moy, and I'm from Ashland in Jackson County. I love to go up to the monument to run, to fish, to ski in the winter, to bike, and if I'm lucky, I'll have a date at the Green Springs Inn. I've spent years guiding trips on the monument for both adults and children. I recall one time a 12-year-old child I was guiding from Talent, having their first nature experience in the forest there, had a hard time taking steps because we started going up a hill, just hard time balancing, because it was likely his first time off of pavement in his life at 12 years old. And I feel like this is a metaphor for where we all are right now with the monument expansion. It might feel a little difficult at first, but after a few steps, we'll be all the better off.
My name is Peggy Foy, and I'm a stakeholder at this table. I'm a 5th generation out of 8 generations raised in the Rogue Valley. I was founder of a backpacking group in the late 60s and early 70s called the Jackson County 4-H High Country Club. Why in the world is the rush to enact a land use change that might have unintended consequences or disastrous results for the future of our children and residents of the county for years to come? Now, I understand that this is President Obama's last hurrah, but he has already created 23 new monuments and enlarged 3 others in the United States. He really doesn't need to add this notch to his belt at this time period. No matter what the science, the habitat is not going to change in the next few years.
Hello, my name's Opal. I'm 26 years old and I was born and raised in Ashland. I grew up on an active farm that is still standing and active, has been for over 100 years. Every year, myself, my husband, my brother, my parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, and great uncles spend our hard-earned money on hunting licenses, deer tags, fishing licenses, so that we can hunt for deer, grouse, and quail all over the entire area that is planning to be expanded. Every year we go up there, collect morel mushrooms, hazelnuts, elderberries to cook and eat. We go up to Old Baldy to get our Christmas trees every year. We camp on the 080, 090, on the Keno Access, 31 Bluffs, Old Baldy, and at Howard Prairie. My husband proposed to me up there. I teach my 3-year-old and 1-year-old sons about nature up there. It's where I take them on nature walks, where I teach them the difference between all of the birds, plants, flowers, and other wildlife, just like my grandmother taught me. It's where I found out my baby gets car sick, so I walk the rest of the way and let the mountain air heal him. It's where I go when I'm having a bad day. It's where I go when I'm having a good day. It's where I take my new friends to show them how beautiful nature can really be. Please do not take away my childhood, my livelihood, and my history, and the history that I want to make with my young family. It would be extremely detrimental to our way of life. No monument.
I'm Barbara Combs, and I support the expansion. The Cascade-Siskiyou National Monument is a national treasure, and we are so fortunate, as many people have pointed out, to have the monument in our backyard. And for this reason, we owe it to our community and to our state, to our nation, and to the world, but especially to our children, to protect the monument.
I'm John O'Keefe. I'm the president of the Oregon Cattlemen's Association. We're in opposition of the monument expansion. I'd like to start with an observation that The disjointed nature of the map of the proposal suggests that this is an interim measure and not a conclusion of an effort to expand the monument. I suggest we stop this overreach now. If we are to conserve these habitats at a landscape level, we must develop working land models to do so. In much of the West, this is already going on. If after 100 years we need to keep these lands in their present condition, it would seem a continuation of current management would be appropriate.
I'm Pepper Trail. I'm the Conservation Chair of the Rogue Valley Audubon Society. As a scientist, my knowledge and experience tell me that the only way to preserve the unique biological connections and incredibly rich biological diversity of the Cascade-Siskiyou area is to expand the monument. I've been involved in scientific research and monitoring in the area since before its designation in 2000, and since 2011 I've been part of a team of scientists with much local experience studying whether current boundaries are adequate to protect this ecological wonder as it was described in the proclamation, and I urge you to support this expansion.
Thank you, Commissioners. Brian Bumgartner. I am an elected official on a very small local level with one of the local irrigation districts. I was prepared tonight to speak to some of my personal matters as well, so thank you for that. The current area I grew up in and enjoyed multiple uses of the land and also worked on the land before the monument designation. In 2000, President Clinton and Secretary Babbitt designated the current monument boundary without full inclusion of the people of this county and the state. Post-designation, and during the start of the Bush administration, I and several others traveled to D.C. to meet with Secretary Norton at the time. We got her out here, got some movement made. There were small gains, but they were not enough to control the overtaking that we've seen today and the management plan. We've had ranchers put out of business. I was not able to continue to operate up there myself with others that have learned from the industry, loss of allotments, and we even had the fight just to keep shoed horses on the ground because they had metal shoes. The other side was pushing that those were mechanical devices. We have also felt the effects of miles of road closures, installation of locked gates, poor access, lack of management, and an increased risk of catastrophic fire. The full assault operations that are available to our wildland suppression efforts through the Oregon Department of Forestry are limited under the Monument Management Plan. It's my opinion this current Board of Commissioners needs to fully assert the coordination rights on behalf of Jackson County based on the social economic welfare of this community and the land base that it is affected by.
My name is Terry Dickey, and I'm the chairman of the board of the Friends of the Cascade-Siskiyou National Monument, and we support a science-based expansion of the monument. The Friends is a nonprofit organization, and we partner with National Conservation Lands in advocating for and restoring biologically important landscapes and promoting the public awareness of biodiversity.
My name is Dennis Linthicum. I am a Senate candidate for District 28 here in the state of Oregon. I'm a former Klamath County Commissioner, and I write as the Dirt Road Economist. As a Dirt Road Economist, I use my economics degree from UCLA to survey the landscape and pay attention to how we use our forest and forest products and our water resources to make economically viable systems. In 1995, 15% of the federal budget for U.S. Forest Service was devoted to firefighting. Last year, 52% was devoted to firefighting. That's 52% of a $5.1 billion budget. That is enormous cost, and out of those fires, no butterfly survives, no bird survives, no watershed survives, and deer and elk habitat, as well as all the other wildlife species, get destroyed. Thank you for opposing this monument expansion.
Thank you for taking the time to understand the diverse opinions and passion that the expansion of the Cascade-Siskiyou National Monument creates. The expansion consideration is a complex issue as it interweaves many private and publicly owned lands and requires much extensive planning to ensure a comprehensive decision. This comprehensive effort is a task worth doing. It should be thoughtfully considered and take into account all stakeholders. The Jackson County Board of Commissioners ask that this time is taken as it impacts greatly this amazing and diverse area we call our home. The entire testimony is available at jacksoncounty.org.